Who does Jon Bernthal play in The Odyssey? Menelaus explained. Warning, spoiler warning. Before we begin, this video contains major spoilers for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and discusses Homer's original epic poem. We'll explain Jon Bernthal's role as Menelaus, why he's one of the most important figures in Greek mythology, and how his story connects directly to Odysseus's legendary journey home. With that said, let's get started. If you've been wondering who Jon Bernthal plays in Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, the answer is Menelaus. At first glance, he may not seem as famous as Odysseus, Achilles, or even Agamemnon. But make no mistake, without Menelaus, there would be no Trojan War. And without the Trojan War, there would be no Odyssey. Although Menelaus isn't the central hero of Christopher Nolan's film, he's one of the characters whose decisions change the entire course of Greek mythology. So who exactly is Menelaus, and why is Jon Bernthal the perfect choice to play him? Let's break it all down. To understand Menelaus, we first have to travel back before the events of the Odyssey. Menelaus is the king of Sparta. He's also the husband of the legendary Helen of Sparta, often called the most beautiful woman in the world. He's the younger brother of Agamemnon, the powerful king of Mycenae, and commander of the Greek forces during the Trojan War. Unlike many rulers in Greek mythology, Menelaus isn't remembered for seeking conquest. His greatest goal was much more personal: protecting his family. Everything changes when Paris, the Prince of Troy, takes Helen away to Troy. Whether Helen willingly left or was abducted depends on which ancient version of the myth you read. But for Menelaus, the result was exactly the same. His wife was gone, his honor had been shattered, and Sparta demanded justice. Instead of accepting the loss, Menelaus called upon the oath that had once united Greece's greatest kings. Years earlier, every suitor who wished to marry Helen had sworn to protect her marriage no matter who became her husband. Now that oath was finally called upon. Kings from across Greece answered the call. Agamemnon assembled the armies. Achilles joined the campaign. Odysseus left Ithaca. Thousands of warriors sailed toward Troy, and a single family's tragedy became one of history's greatest wars. That's why Menelaus is so important. People often think Achilles caused the Trojan War, or that Odysseus did, but neither is true. The war begins because Menelaus refuses to abandon Helen. Without his determination to reclaim his wife, none of the events in the Odyssey would ever happen. Odysseus would never spend 10 years fighting at Troy. He would never anger Poseidon, and he would never begin the long journey home that defines Homer's epic. In many ways, Menelaus is the spark that ignites the entire story. After Troy finally falls, most viewers assume everyone's journey is over, but for Menelaus, it's only beginning. Like Odysseus, he faces a long and dangerous voyage home. Storms scatter his fleet. The gods test him. He travels through distant lands and spends years wandering before finally returning to Sparta with Helen. Although his journey isn't as famous as Odysseus's, it mirrors many of the same themes: loss, patience, perseverance, and the struggle to return home after war has changed everything. One of the most important moments involving Menelaus actually happens during the Odyssey itself. While Odysseus remains trapped far from home, his son Telemachus refuses to give up hope. Searching for answers, he travels to Sparta to meet Menelaus. It's one of the most emotional conversations in the entire story. Menelaus welcomes the young prince with kindness. He understands exactly what Telemachus is going through, because he too spent years wondering whether he'd ever see home again. During their conversation, Menelaus shares a crucial piece of information. During his own travels, he encountered the ancient sea god Proteus. Proteus revealed something extraordinary. Odysseus wasn't dead, he was alive, but trapped on the island of Calypso. That revelation changes everything. For the first time, Telemachus knows his father still lives, and hope returns to Ithaca. Without Menelaus sharing that knowledge, the search for Odysseus might never have continued. So why was Jon Bernthal such an inspired choice for the role? Bernthal has built his career playing characters who carry enormous emotional weight beneath a hardened exterior. Whether portraying soldiers, leaders, or survivors, he brings intensity without needing long speeches. That's exactly what Menelaus requires. By the time the Odyssey begins, Menelaus isn't simply a victorious king. He's a man who has survived one of history's greatest wars, a husband who fought for 10 years to bring his wife home, and a ruler still carrying the emotional scars of everything he lost along the way. Bernthal's commanding screen presence makes those experiences believable even in relatively limited screen time. Many viewers also confuse Menelaus with his older brother, Agamemnon. It's an easy mistake to make. Both are powerful Greek kings, both fought at Troy, both belong to the house of Atreus. But their roles are very different. Menelaus is the king of Sparta. He's Helen's husband. His personal mission is to bring his wife home. Agamemnon, meanwhile, is the king of Mycenae. He's the commander of the Greek alliance. While Menelaus fights for his family, Agamemnon fights to lead an entire coalition of kings. Understanding that difference makes the politics of the Trojan War much easier to follow. There's another reason Menelaus remains such an important character. Unlike many legendary heroes, he survives. Achilles dies, Ajax falls. Many of Greece's greatest warriors never return home. Menelaus does. That survival allows him to become a living reminder of everything the war cost. When Telemachus meets him, he isn't just meeting a king. He's meeting one of the last living witnesses to the greatest conflict of the age. His memories become a bridge between the Trojan War and Odysseus's long-awaited return. Perhaps that's why Christopher Nolan includes Menelaus, despite focusing primarily on Odysseus. He represents the beginning of the story, the man whose personal tragedy started the war, and later, the man who unknowingly helps bring that story full circle by giving Telemachus the information that his father is still alive. Without Menelaus, the Odyssey loses one of its most important connections between past and present. Final thoughts. So, who does Jon Bernthal play in the Odyssey? He plays Menelaus, the king of Sparta, husband of Helen, brother of Agamemnon, and one of the most important figures in all of Greek mythology. Although Odysseus is the hero of the Odyssey, his incredible journey only exists because Menelaus refused to give up on Helen. Years later, after surviving his own dangerous voyage home, Menelaus becomes one of the key figures who helps Telemachus discover that Odysseus is still alive. In many ways, he's both the beginning and one of the final links in Odysseus's legendary story. Sometimes, the most important characters aren't the ones who appear in every scene. They're the ones whose choices change the lives of everyone around them. So what do you think? Did Jon Bernthal perfectly capture the strength and determination of Menelaus? Or was there another actor you would have liked to see in the role? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more The Odyssey Explained videos, Greek mythology breakdowns, hidden details, and Christopher Nolan movie analysis.